Here is something that almost no one says out loud. A lot of what we call strength is actually not really strength. It is more exhaustion that is dressed up in a costume. So for example, when we push through or we hold it together. And then there is supposed strength when we don't ask for help, because at some point we have been taught, or we've been teaching ourselves, that needing support means weakness. And now we're running an entire life on that belief, wondering why we feel so heavy all the time. So today I want to talk about inner strength, not the version that looks good on a vision board, the real one. The one that's actually available to you, to me, to all of us right now, regardless of how depleted or capable or somewhere in between these two you are feeling right now. Welcome to the first part of our Power of Joy series, and welcome to the Who I Am podcast, your guided meditation podcast for a strong mind, balance, and bold moves. My name is Jackie, and I am honestly so excited that you are here for this one. Make sure to follow along the podcast to not miss out on the following 4 parts of this series or any other episodes. Without further ado, let's dive into the topic of inner strength. I used to think inner strength meant one thing only, that you could handle whatever came at you without even flinching, that you'd be stable like a rock and always clear in your decisions. You would be productive no matter what, and you'd do most of it without really needing anyone else's help, of course. Sounds familiar? That version of strength is, let's say, extremely convincing. It's also, I want to say this plainly, incomplete. Because that version is built entirely on what I call masculine energy. And I'm gonna highlight or star this at this moment because recently someone has made me aware of the fact that we cannot talk about masculine and feminine energy in that sense anymore. So I will just put a little disclaimer. I will call it masculine energy. And before anyone switches off, this has nothing to do with the gender. Please, let me tell you this. Nothing to do with identity. It's about 2 different modes of operating that every single human being carries inside of them. So all of us, we have feminine energy and masculine energy within ourselves. There's just a different distribution of both of these, depending on your experiences, your DNA, your character, and also your past. One that moves forward, which is the masculine energy. It drives, it focuses, it decides, it sets boundaries, takes all the responsibility. And the other one is the one that flows, that adapts, listens, trusts, lets go, regenerates. So many more characteristics that come along with the feminine energy. When only one of those is running the show, something breaks down inside of us usually. So if one of these energies take over, and I can speak for myself that very recently I have learned the hard way that I have lived in my masculine energy for almost all my life and probably pushed away my feminine energy, particularly. I will tell you more about it. So if you're living entirely in the forward moving mode, which most high achieving people are, you eventually hit a wall that all the willpower in the world cannot push through, because you've been adding load to a system that never gets to recover. So recovery is not luxury at this point. It's literally how we even build the strength that our masculine energy is driving forward. Now, this might seem a little abstract, and that's why I want to give you a personal example of my own life. As I said, it comes from your own characteristics, and they build on experiences in your life. So there are certain experiences and events in my life, for example, when my own parents split when I was at the age of 11, and then I had to sort of learn how to grow up quickly, maybe more quicker than someone who gets raised in a stable family situation, or even just jobs in the past that I've had, where I was taking on a lot of responsibility, where I was responsible for managing projects. And so I would have my masculine energy by my side each and every day to make sure that the projects are running smoothly. I would be very much in the planning mode, so very much in the future all the time, planning ahead 1 week to 4 weeks to sometimes months ahead, and being the one to sort of pull the entire team along with. So there was a lot of masculine energy required. And of course, I was ambitious, so taking on as much as I could. And up until a certain point where I realized I wasn't giving myself space at all to rest, recover, to just flow or be creative, because I was so much in my masculine energy all the time. I hope this gives you a bit of a clearer picture of what I mean when I talk about masculine and feminine energy. Perhaps think about a muscle. You don't get stronger by lifting without resting at all. You get stronger in the resting phase, in that phase where the tissue repairs, rebuilds, comes back more capable than before. Your inner world works exactly the same. Real inner strength is the integration of both. The courage to push forward and the wisdom to know when to pause. Or the discipline to hold a boundary and the flexibility to release what isn't yours to carry. The focus to stay the course, and the intuition to feel when the course needs change. That version of strength that's built on hardness alone, like control, like pressure, overworking, never softening, that is not actual strength. That's armor. That's like a wall. And armor is heavy to wear. Especially after a while, you can't even feel the difference between the armor and yourself. Now, the question that I want to leave with you, and I want you to genuinely sit with it rather than answer this quickly, it's this. Which part of you is being asked to do all the heavy lifting right now? And which part hasn't been allowed into the room? Now let's take a few moments with that. Perhaps breathing in deeply through the nose and exhaling slowly and completely. Find wherever you're comfortable. In the car, at your desk, on a walk. And just breathe in slowly through the nose. Hold it gently for a second. And release it. One more time. In through the nose. All the way down to the belly. And a long, slow exhale. Think about one thing you have been carrying that doesn't actually belong to you. Not something you chose. Something that you just accumulated layer by layer until you forgot that it was never originally yours to hold. So maybe that is a role that has been thrown onto you in your personal life or your professional environment. Maybe that's a task or a responsibility that was given to you that you never really wanted in the first place, but you just didn't have the tools to set the boundary in that moment. And that's okay. Let me assure you that that is okay for the moment, but it's also really important to acknowledge when it's just not yours. It is someone else's that has been projected or has been given to you. So just notice that. Inner strength is not that we don't struggle. It's actually the opposite. Inner strength is the intelligence to work with both sides of yourself. Again, feminine and masculine energy, or any other word that you would like to use for this. The part that moves and the part that flows. And when those two are in a constant conversation with each other, rather than one suppressing the other, something opens up that I feel I can really only describe as ease. Not ease because life gets simpler or the load gets lighter. Ease simply because you stop fighting yourself. You stop that suppression of one force to the other. So feel free to give this a couple more deep breaths and a few moments to really let sink. In and out through the nose. If this landed somewhere meaningful for you and you feel the need to go deeper than a podcast episode can take you, feel the need to go deeper into how to actually balance out feminine and masculine and all the benefits that come along with beyond building inner strength, there is a link in the bio for a free session. You can contact me directly and chat with me live about this topic. You can also find so many more insights on my Instagram page at Heal with Jackie. And if this landed somewhere real for you, then please, please, please share this episode with someone who might benefit, who might need to hear this. That is honestly the best thing you can do to support this show, to spread the message, and to help other people have the opportunity to gain awareness about how heavily they're actually lifting and how they could find more ease in their lives. I'll see you next Sunday for the second part of our Power of Joy series. I cannot wait to welcome you back here. Up until then, I send you all my love and light.